to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll get through the consent agenda and also the accounts payable. So with regard to the accounts payable for the period ending September 6, 2025, $40,235 in payroll, $9,828 in taxes, $552,356 for accounts payable, and that pertains to the new fire truck, which was purchased, and the total on that was $450. So there was other payables, which included a payment to Health Insurance Trust. Okay, thank you. There was also a payment to Swayze in the amount of $275,000 and a payment to the co-op in the amount of $777,650. So I'd take a motion to sign off on those payables and the payroll.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pass this around. All right. The consent agenda this time includes rec manifest and building permits. We're still waiting on prior public minutes and non-public minutes. I understand from speaking with Jillian that she had lost some of that information when she was doing it has retrieved or in the process of retrieving that, and also working on some AI utilization to help with that process as well. So hopefully by next time we'll have minutes as part of the agenda. But I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda as is, which is the rec manifest and the building permits.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Takes care of that. So now we can go to the fun stuff, and I'll have our chief introduce the goings-ons this evening.
Hey everyone. So doing another swearing-in ceremony tonight. We have two officers that'll be starting. Both of them come to us as certified officers with previous experience, so that's exciting. We have Officer Henry Resnichek, who comes from a nearby community. He's got about 5 years of experience, and he's looking forward to starting here, being a little closer to home. We also have Officer Connor O'Neill, who comes to us from the North Country area, looking to come down here, start a new beginning in a more populated area. So they're both very excited to start, and we can get started with swearing them in.
We do. We've signed, and these were officers who were previously approved by the board for hire. So,
Do we need to make a
Officer
motion
Resnichek.
or no?
Want to get pictures?
That's usually after, I think.
Huh?
I think it's usually after that we.
According
I, Connor O'Neill, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me of a police officer of the Brentwood Police Department, according to the best of my abilities, agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire. So help me God.
Katie, we're gonna make you get in it.
Let's do a quick group photo.
The camera was unplugged. I don't know. So you're.
How does that even
Congratulations, guys.
Nope, that's not how it works. Bonus, yeah. You get to change immediately. Yeah. Oh, extraordinaire. That sounds fresh.
Yeah, have a seat, Chief, and I understand there were a couple of budgetary things you wanted to discuss with us.
Thank you. So just a couple things, I'll try to be quick. Going through my numbers this year, just to bring it to your guys' attention, I've been working with Jillian on it. And it was brought to the attention of previous town administrator, but some of my officers, their detail pay has been coming out of my salary line instead of the detail account. So we're just figuring that out. Jillian's been awesome. I don't expect a solution, overnight. So it's just figuring how to get that money, I guess, reconciled, if you will. So in the event my salary line looks off before we fix it, that's why. Next thing is working on recruitment and retention. It's obviously no shock. There's a lot of police officer jobs out there. Many towns are, paying big bucks. They're offering these crazy sign-on bonuses, stuff like that. So what I want to do is enact just a pay scale. My thought process being, if you hire an officer who's brand new and start them at, a comparable wage, they should be able to see in 4 years, if you hire a 21-year-old officer right out of college in 4 years, that when they want to start looking to, buy a condo, buy a house, maybe buy a new car, they should know kind of where they're going to fall on this scale. So been working on this scale for quite some time. I had my budgetary walkthrough last week, and even the chair of the budget committee said that a scale is a good idea to have. So, I thought that was good. I don't think it's anything unreasonable. It's got grades and steps. So we start with civilian, who our one civilian is Katie. And then like a grade 1 would be regular patrol. And then you have grade 2, which might be more of like your specialty or senior patrol after they get, some time on, or that once in a blue moon person that just wants to finish out their career as patrol. Grade 3 would be sergeants. Grade 4 would be lieutenants. I didn't do a chief grade on here because quite frankly, I think that it's up to me as a department head to justify my pay to the board. So if I want to get a raise, then I have to tell you guys why I think I deserve a raise. So that being said, implementing it, looking to do that this budgetary cycle. they will kind of just fall into it based off what they're making now. I would love to say that steps correlate to years, but sometimes it doesn't happen because you have other officers that have military experience or have prior experience, stuff like that, where they might just fall differently. But I think in the grand scheme of things, this is important for recruitment and retention. I don't think these numbers are unreasonable by today's standards by any means. I think it's pretty, honestly, compared to towns around us, it's pretty middle of the road.
So is this something that is complete or you're
Yep.
working on?
Yeah, I would say this is pretty much the finished product right here.
Okay. So is this something that you're going to circulate or
Yeah,
want us
I
to?
can, yeah, if you guys want, I can make copies for you, or else I can email it to you, whichever you prefer.
Email's fine with me.
Okay. Yeah,
I
So
mean,
Okay, no.
no, please.
So your intent is to use this in the upcoming budget cycle?
correct.
Are you going to, how are you going to use, I guess, I think Andy was the one that had said that you don't give everyone a step, you have to pass your evaluation or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a merit base, right? So, showing up, doing your job as expected, just like we've done every year previous, we have the merit-based system, stuff like that. I don't foresee, I guess, drifting away from that. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think you were the one that had said you don't, it's not a guarantee that you'll always get a
Correct,
step.
yeah.
Like-
No, you actually have to show up and do your job.
That's, I know.
Novel concept, I know.
That was my only question.
So are you looking ultimately for some sort of blessing or you,
Yeah, I mean, if you guys wouldn't mind it, I mean,
why don't you,
Yeah.
how about if you circulate it, give us
Yeah.
a chance to review it?
sure.
If there are any questions and we can, put that on the agenda for next time?
Okay.
Circle back.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
There was one other thing, just because we discovered earlier when we were reviewing your budget that some things in the budget you inherited were not what you expected.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my budget's gonna be a little bit of a challenge. So some of the things that my predecessor had budgeted for, such as promotions, he didn't budget for. So I am working on figuring that out too, in the fairest, way possible to the town. Whether it's shifting money around from other lines, stuff like that. So we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
All right, so that's a snapshot for
Yeah,
what's ahead.
of what's ahead. Yeah. So
Okay.
work in progress.
Okay, and I just want to express, appreciation because of, as you say, in this environment and be able to swear in 2 new officers as, yep, thank you. I think that speaks to your ability as a leader and chief to recruit, so thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, next on the agenda, there is an appointment for an open vacancy for the trustee of the trust funds, and this would be an interim vacancy until town meeting. Oh. Okay, I didn't see, oh, there's the term expire, yeah. My apologies. Okay, so this would be a vacancy fulfilled through 2028. Mrs. Dunham is here. Does Mr. Dunham understand that?
I'm not sure, but I was going to mention it to him, yes. He's enthusiastic about filling the position.
Okay.
I'll make sure he's okay with it.
Okay. Okay. Well, pending that, we do have before us, and you know, we do have signed, I think Mr. Dunham had said he would come in at a later time to do the swearing, so
Was this by recommendation of the current trustees?
yes, it was. Yeah, there was an email, I thought it was circulated to everyone from Julia Vaughn had indicated that all of the trustees were in favor and had recommended Mr. Dunham to be appointed. So, having said that, I think we can move to do so.
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Welcome aboard, Bill.
okay. Daphne, I know there was a prior discussion from last time with regard to an extra voting machine, so you want to follow up on that? Thank you.
So I do have some good news.
We like good news.
We'll see. The machine ended up not being $7,500. It's only $6,000 because we already have the laptop. We don't have to pay for that again. That will work for both machines. Again, I have $1,500 in my budget, so I'm looking for $4,500. And I believe our fantastic finance director may have found something for us. So it will be less expensive than we thought.
Very good.
Okay, and you need to purchase this now.
I need to sign a contract now to get it here before March, yes.
And Julie, feel free to come to the table if you like, but is there 4,500 remaining in a budget somewhere for us to do that? Correct.
For the newsletter.
There was a newsletter line item.
Nope.
I think also there,
So it was coming from somewhere.
Hopefully. Yep, that could very well be accurate.
Michelle, do you have some input on that? Yep. I think people need to come to the mic. Is that what you're suggesting? Yeah.
Mi-
But that's all
Michelle
right.
says that they've been getting checks,
Thank you.
so they're coming from somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But not that line.
Okay, well, we'll look into that and figure that out. I think, though, there may have been a line, Julie, with regard to someone who was looking at grants, a grant writer line that had a fair amount of money in it. Okay. So I think that might be a place where this could come from. Okay. And certainly, voting is something that we want to encourage in a smooth fashion.
Yeah.
So having said that, I would entertain a motion to move forward with this in the amount of $6,000.
Motion.
4,500.
4,500.
Okay, I thought you said it was 75.
Well, I have 1,500 in my budget.
The total cost is 6,000.
Total cost is six.
yes.
6,000.
So the total cost is 6, so I'd look for a motion for that.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Julie, come on up. We're going to talk about budget appointment schedule at this point.
I believe Jillian handed out a proposed budget appointment schedule.
Mhm.
I based it on last year's and moved it up about a week sooner, starting a week sooner. I don't know. I can easily change it if the schedule doesn't work for anybody.
So the schedule runs from September 30th all the way down through December 2nd.
Correct.
open to whatever thoughts or comments people might have.
My thought was that the budgets are supposed to be complete by next week's meeting, so they could be circulated then, and that would give you the week of the 23rd to discuss generally the complete budget, and then could start meeting with the separate departments on the 30th.
When this came up last night at the budget committee meeting, my only concern was because there's a new tax cap and there's a new process. Is this gonna leave us enough time? Then I'll defer to everyone.
So in terms of timing, what would be the concern? We still have, I mean, if we finish off at the point of December 2nd, that should give us plenty of time before.
I don't think at this point we could move the schedule up anymore,
No.
because it's the 9th.
No, I think, because of the tax cap, we might have to go through budgets multiple times, that's all. And so in terms of getting everything done before, whenever it has to be done in February.
I may be able to look at consolidating it some more, and just means meeting with more departments.
Well, like debt service and code enforcement's not a huge night, like, that could probably go in with cemetery information system and budget committee.
Yep.
If we wanted to try to gain some ground.
True.
And we'll have the budgets ahead of time, so we might already know which ones we're gonna have questions on and which ones are just gonna kind of go.
I say we make it happen.
All right, well, why don't we be flexible? My suggestion is we be flexible about it. We'll get the budgets, we can take a look at it, decide if anything needs to be moved up or, consolidated. I don't know that we need to vote on this other than, to indicate that this is a tentative scheduling for the time being.
Yeah, I just would like to get it out to the department heads as soon as possible, just so they can put it in on their schedules.
I would consolidate those 2 days and just move the schedule up
Sure.
1 week.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. I'll revise that and send it out.
Thank you.
All right, and,
Go ahead.
yeah, was there something else?
No, well, I was just gonna say, I have started receiving some of the budgets, so they are trickling in. So hopefully by Monday, I will have them all.
Okay.
Could you send those over to us, or I don't know if you can put them on a folder on the OneDrive or something where we can start looking at them?
Sure.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Sure. A couple of other things. Greg, the CPA who's doing the work for 2024, has said that, I think I mentioned it last time, he'd probably be finished up by the middle of this month, and is saying that he feels it's okay. I had asked him if it was okay to reach out to Plodzik to see if we can get them on the schedule to return anytime from October on. So if you're good with that, I will reach out to them,
Yep, he said that we were ready, correct?
that we would be ready by October for sure.
Yep, okay.
And said that, I know we also spoke last week about how far into 2025 he would go, and he said he would like to use his remaining time to finish up 2024. He has started into 2025 a little bit, but believes that the rest of his time will be spent on 2024.
And are you comfortable then bringing 2025 into,
Yes. yeah.
okay, then perfect.
And the last thing I was going to bring up is, at some point, we need to reschedule the site walk that the budget committee was going to do for the town office. I don't know if any of you wanted to attend that, or if you want me to just schedule it for whenever works best for me.
I would suggest scheduling it for whatever works best for you, but let us know, and, at least one or two of us could potentially be there.
I mean, I'll be there anyway, because I'm the budget committee rep.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I will probably be proposing the week of September 22nd, so I will let everybody know what works best for them during that week.
Just a follow-up question about that.
Yes.
Who's presenting all the materials or generating all the materials for that sidewalk?
I still need to get with Jillian to see if we can find any of the job descriptions that we were told had been started, so we need to look into that.
I do have those, and I have found lots of old job descriptions. We could just kind of meld them into new ones.
And then as far as those budgets?
Yeah, I'm working on those.
Okay.
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 Thank you. You'll
Thank you.
come back in a short bit?
Yes.
Okay, great. Next is Select Board vacancy letters of intent, just an update really at this point. So Jillian, why don't you tell us where we're at?
We have received 3 statements of interest. Do you want me to say their names?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
Okay. The first from Bill Faria. The second was from Bob Montegary. And the last received today was from Doug Finnan.
And we have until, what did we say? It was two.
15th.
The 15th.
Yeah,
So that we can vote on it on the 16th.
correct. Okay. And then in terms of how we want to handle that, I mean, obviously we'll have, the letters and, applications that we can discuss. Question is, and everyone who has applied, I see is here tonight, but do we want to have those folks back for purposes of,
Q&A.
having a presentation and some questions?
I would like to do a Q&A before I vote, but
Yep, I think I would as well.
I don't know, but I mean, I'd just like to hear a statement about why, I know they wrote one, but
Yep, fine with me.
Would the 3 folks here be willing to come back next week for that purpose? All right, awesome.
Thank
See
you
if
all.
anyone else joins you. Okay.
was it posted on the town Facebook page and all of the places, do we know? Okay.
Yes, it was. Thank you, Julian.
Okay. Open positions at this point. Can we have an update on that, Julie?
We have received 3 applications for town administrator. We have several applications for building inspector and code enforcement. Jim and I are working to follow up with several of those people who were interviewed previously. For the recreation director, we have only received 1 application. I just confirmed that there will be a second and have heard that there is a third coming in, so I would recommend maybe waiting a bit on that one. We have 2 applications for welfare administrator. 1 would be remote, 1 is here in town. And that's all of the open positions as of right now.
Do we have a time frame? Are we closing this at a certain time for like the town administrator and whatnot? Are we just keeping it open until?
I mean, my thought would be to do this on a rolling basis and to keep it open, and that when we found, someone who we thought was interesting, someone who we wanted to, bring in for an interview, that we would begin, that process. But I'm open to however, people want to do that. Out of the 3 that I, reviewed, there is at least 1 that may have some, interest, and I thought it might be worth reaching out to that individual for purposes of bringing in for an initial interview. I don't know how, people feel about that, but I'm open to how people want to handle the process.
Yeah, I think I think before we bring anyone in, though, we should make sure that we know what that job is gonna look like.
Yeah, for example, the rec director. I would like to open the question, you know, right now, we have a full-time rec director and a part-time rec director. So 1.5. My question is, can that be done with one person or even a part-time person? I don't know, but I'd like to entertain that thought. We're all looking for ways to, you know, work with this budget, and that's one of the questions that I have.
I think similarly, like, what number of hours is the building inspector code enforcement position? What rate of pay are we gonna offer?
Mhm.
Same thing, town administrator. A lot of the job that we had hired for most recently for that position is now taken by the finance director, so.
Talking about the town administrative
Yes,
position.
town
Yep.
administrator position.
Yep.
So what does that look like in terms of hours or compensation, or just what does that look like? I think we should figure that out before we contact anyone, so that we can answer those questions for them.
Okay. How do you want to do that?
We as a board have to decide, don't we?
We do.
Okay.
I mean, do we want to make those decisions, you know, as we're sitting here now, or is that something that we,
How else would we do it?
well, I mean, first off, we could wait until, you know, next week, until we have a full board, or we can start the discussion and go, you know, one at a time.
Oh, yeah, no, we can definitely wait until we have a full board if you think that would be prudent, but the way it has to happen is we have to decide.
Well, I think it's very important that we know what direction we want to go in with these. And I think it's important to establish a, you know, time and salary cap, you know, and you know.
Or at least a range. I
yeah,
mean, you know,
exactly,
it's
right,
to be
a range.
determined by
So with that,
experience qualification. Yeah.
right, with that, maybe we all think about it and talk about it next week, and you know, come up with a plan next week. I don't think it's fair for us to, we just threw it out there tonight. I don't think it's fair.
No, no, I think there's no one else to do it other than us.
Correct.
We're in charge.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week, we should have a full board, and part of that discussion will be for each of these positions.
Correct.
What we think the position is going to entail, what would be the salary range, and what would be the potential hours, whether full-time or part-time for each of those positions. Let me ask this, with regard to welfare administrator, do we think we're at a spot where we could make a decision with this board here
And the job responsibilities?
for welfare director?
Is that what you're asking, if we have job responsibilities,
No,
hours,
can we
and
make a
wages?
decision in terms of the applicants that we presently have in front of us for welfare director? I mean,
What are we paying them and how many hours?
well, that's a good question.
It's a stipend position. I believe it's $625 a quarter. And the hours are as needed.
Is that something that the people that have applied are okay with? Like, did the job posting say that?
No, it just said it was a stipend position, I believe.
I mean, we can offer that position on that stipend basis. If, again, you know, we feel like we're in a position at this point in time to do that.
Well, we've had 2 applicants. I've, just speaking for myself, I've reviewed both, and I'm prepared to make a decision tonight on that, based on what I've seen. To me, it's really a no-brainer, but.
Letty?
I would say that unless we have a job description, an expected number of hours, and a wage, that if we're gonna do that for all of them, we should do it for this position too.
Yeah, except the welfare position is statutory, as I understand it. So
But we've appointed somebody interim, so there's no real rush, and most likely the person who was appointed interim is gonna get appointed the successor, so to Letty's point, we make sure that we have an accurate job description and
Don't put the cart before the horse, right?
okay,
Yeah.
we can cover that next time as part of, the agenda of going through descriptions. I just thought that the statutory, and I'd have to look at the statute itself, but I thought it describes that position.
but we can put something together of how it, and if you want, that would be a great position to do a little essay or homework with our 3 applicants and let them come up with a job description and salary range and whatnot for that position, and then they can present it to us next week.
Ooh.
I mean, it's not, it kind of will give us their logical thinking ideas and how their thought processes work on.
Okay.
I've worked with 2 of them, so I know how their thought process works, but I've never worked with that.
Okay, yeah, we have 2 that are pending.
No, he's talking about the select
Yeah,
board.
you guys were talking about.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm saying,
okay.
take the welfare director's position, have our select board applicants come up with a job description,
Ah,
pay rates, and present it as part of their application process.
okay, Andy is very creative. Okay. All right, so we'll,
Wanna see if they're willing to accept that challenge, or
Julie?
One is I just want to mention that the town administrator and rec are posted for 30 days on the posting, which I think we had to do. So those are for 30 days. And then I was going to also ask, in the finance workshops that Ambrose and I have been attending, they highly recommend a deputy treasurer. So I was wondering if we could add that
Mhm.
to the list of openings.
Is the building inspector code enforcement position not for 30 days?
It was for 60, but it started
long time.
30 days ago.
Okay. Okay.
Or more than that, yeah.
I do think it's a good idea. I mean, if we have enough applicants and we're comfortable with it, I feel that we shouldn't open-end it only because then it's not fair. If we decide that we hire someone says, oh, I thought we had more time, that's my only concern about that. I think that we should try to do our due diligence to try and get these filled as soon as possible, and but
yeah, I agree with all of that, except with town administrator. I think
get
we,
that. I
yeah,
get that.
okay.
Yeah, I get it 100%. If we have to continue it, we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we will continue this discussion with more detail and filling out the positions and what they will entail and what the ranges will be for cost next week. All right. Next on the agenda is health insurance, and this is a follow-up from last night's budget committee meeting. So I did want to invite Julie back to at least give a summary of that presentation.
Paul had asked me to attend the budget committee meeting, which I plan to do through the budget season anyway, and discuss the budget committee had a subcommittee which was concentrating on health benefits, and just asked me to share what their findings were. I have a little spreadsheet I can give to you, which kind of combines the topics that they discussed last night. Do you need another one?
Nope. Just want me to go over to Jillian at some point.
Basically, what they have found is that according to the employee handbook, employees are supposed to, there's supposed to be 3 plans, A, B, and C. Nobody has signed up for Plan C, so I did not include it on this spreadsheet. But according to the handbook, those who sign up for Plan B, a single person signing up would be covered at 100%. If you signed up for a couple or family plan, it would be covered at 75%. And then Plan A, which is more expensive than Plan B, if you're single and you wanted to have Plan A, you would have to pay the difference between Plan B and Plan A. The individual would be responsible for that. And for couple and family, the amount of the 75% of Plan B would be deducted from the cost of Plan A, and the employee would be responsible for that amount, which works out to 62%. In actuality, what has happened at some point, and we're not sure when, is that individuals were also offered the Plan A at 100% coverage by the town, and the 75% got shifted to Plan A so that couple and family plans were being offered at 75%. And that was being deducted from Plan B, which means the town was covering 91% of the cost for Plan B for couples and families. On the spreadsheet there, you can see that the additional expense to the town is roughly $78,000 because of that error, we will call it. And we're not sure, as I said, when this started. So the budget committee is obviously concerned about the overspending of town funds, but they're also very cautious about putting too much of a burden onto the employees. It wasn't their fault that they are in this situation. So they're going to be studying all the options that are available to try to get us back in alignment with what the employee handbook says. I started researching where this may have started happening, and I didn't get very far because I didn't have access to the data through Health Trust, but I do now have access to Health Trust, so I can start looking into that. But I can tell you, in addition to this problem, I also discovered that from the 24 rates to 25, the amount being deducted from the employees never got adjusted, so they are still all paying based on 2024 rates. So that just compounds it a little bit more.
Okay, so I know there were some alternatives that were discussed, and you know, I don't expect to come up with any answers, you know, here in terms of, you know, how this will work. But I mean, ultimately, you know, we as a board, I think, have a responsibility to A, follow the handbook, but B, you know, to have a balanced approach. And I mentioned this last night at the budget committee meeting in terms of, you know, on the one hand, you know, understanding that, you know, there are resident taxpayers who have been paying for this, but on the other hand, you know, there are employees who are going to be hit with, you know, a burden in terms of you know, an increase when this were to be reverted back. So I think we have we're duty bound as a board to address this and ultimately deal with it. And I know at the budget committee, there were talking about, well, it's their budget in terms of, budgeting the proper amount, but ultimately, I think it's our responsibility as a board to make the policy for, this year, and then for subsequent years, with the goal in mind to, have some sort of balanced approach. I know there was, discussion about looking at different kinds of plans, whether, those plans were not just $1,000 deductible plans, but higher deductible plans. There was also discussion about perhaps contributing to HSA accounts and FSA accounts. And then there was also discussion, and I know, Julie started to look into some sort of graduated approach in terms of, what it might look like in terms of a contribution to premium for 2026 as an example, and we could theoretically amend the handbook to have that kind of graduated approach and move back to what the handbook originally had said in 2027. I thought it was interesting because Julie did comment at the Budget Committee meeting last night that this was actually a policy that was one that she was familiar with because it was one that she had helped draft when she was town administrator. I know that at least in terms of, a graduated approach, you could look at the difference between 75 and 91% as something in between to at least, soften the blow, for next year. But these are going to be some very difficult discussions. I don't think we're going to have any, certainly not going to have any answers tonight. We're going to need a full board to at least have those discussions. I think in the first instance, what I would like to have done is for Julie to meet with the health trust broker so we could get some, options that are brought out onto the table and then report back to the board. But I'm open to suggestion. I'm also open to public comment on this at this point as well. But before I do open it to public comment, I'd like to hear from this board.
Go ahead.
So my current employer ended up going with a private broker for their health insurance. So I'm not sure if it's worthwhile
Yeah, they're-
approaching them.
They're looking into that as well.
Yeah.
Approaching them and seeing if they want to contact somebody and submit a proposal.
Yeah, I think that it was mentioned that there's a local
It's out of Auburn.
individual. Okay.
The broker that they're using after interlocal trust went under.
Well, we could, look into that, Julie, so if you want to get that contact information. I think also the Budget Committee had a private broker who was a local resident, Sean something, okay. Yeah.
Did you have something, Letty? Yeah.
I did. I just wanted to check with Julie because this is not part of her job description to do HR stuff.
Well,
And
just because
so-
it's finance related,
The finance part, yes, but the talking to health trust part, no. And so I wanted to make sure that you think that that is something time-wise, that it's not going to be an issue for you.
Yeah, and I think that I would like to say that I can see this from both sides, the taxpayer and the employee. And this is a difficult thing. It's not something that any of us could foresee. We are finding, this board is finding quite a few errors that have been previously done. And so like Paul said, it's a very difficult situation that we're put in, and we're trying to do the best that we can to be fair and equitable to everybody. So we just need to have some patience, and we need to, we need people to understand that we're working hard on this, and that we value our employees, and we value the taxpayer as well. So when you find an error like this of almost $80,000, that's a big concern, and it's a big hurdle that we're faced with. So just understand that we're working on it, and have some patience.
The other thing is, the big unknown as well is, we don't know what the rates are going to be until those rates come out. And my conversation with the broker from Health Trust, those come out on in or around October 7th. He did say that if he learns of those rates sooner, he'll certainly get in touch with us so that we have some advance warning, and then we have enrollment period that runs through a good portion of November as well. So I say that that we do have time to address and deal with this, but but I'm appreciative and sensitive to the fact that it leaves a certain level of uncertainty amongst the town employees in terms of what their health premium is going to look like in 2026.
And to reiterate, Julie found we're even not up to speed on 25. We're still using 24 figures, so that's going to be a even bigger jump there. So
I'll take,
I just have
oh, sure.
one more thing.
Please.
I think as the select board representative to the budget committee, it would have been great if I had known about this before Jim presented it last night. It was very clear, since the two of you were there and you mentioned talking to Andy, that y'all knew ahead of time. Had I known, I might have been able to answer some of those questions about how did this happen, when did it happen, by looking up that information. So.
Yeah, I understood. I mean, my understanding is that this was going to be presented to the budget committee, and that was the forum and venue for that purpose, and that I understood as well that we would be discussing it the next day, and that we're going to be having continuing discussions. But I certainly understand what your comment is.
Okay.
Yep. So if there are any comments in the public, I'm happy to accept them.
You could,
I can move. No, that's quite all right. Sean Karen is his name, Julie. Sean Karen is the resident who is working with Jim. I wanted, Hajar,
Jim,
yes.
too many Jims.
I wanted to say that 80,000 number is actually low because of the rates you're using this year, or last year's rates. That difference is closer to 94,000 that the town has absorbed versus what it should have been. I also wanted to say that a lot of the conversations that Jim and I had with both Health Trust and Sean Karen were offering different plans. So I just don't want people to get too frightened about, oh, well, this is the plan now and this is the rate now. The plans that'll be offered could be very, very different. And the costs of those plans could be different. And the employee responsibility could be very different than what we're looking at now. So, and there were some other things besides the FSA and HRA that we were considering. And then just from my own accord, not as a budget person or anything, I would question the fiduciary responsibility of having those amounts that were improperly paid, what the legality of that is. I honestly don't know, but that might be something you want to inquire about.
Can you elaborate on that?
The fact that the town absorbed more than they should have over that paid more than, that the employees didn't pay their full amount. I don't know what that means legally to the town.
I don't think it means anything because the policy that we're talking about was designed for 3 plans and we only have 2.
Yeah, I don't know that, and.
I don't know. I'm
yeah,
just
no,
raising a
and-
point.
Well, and I appreciate you raising the point. It's certainly one that has crossed my mind, but at this point, I don't know that we have enough, information to, really act upon that. I mean, if, at some point, that information was to come to light, then that might be a different, situation. But at this point, I don't know that we have enough, information to, to necessarily, act in some fiduciary capacity, looking backwards. And I appreciate what you're
It was
saying.
just a question.
It's a fair question, and I appreciate it, and that's the best way that I could answer it. The other thing I would say is, yes, there is a fiduciary responsibility to look back if information or additional information were to come to light. But, at this point, I think it is imperative that, this board, as well as the budget committee, has a forward-looking approach here because, we're dealing with, people and, what they're, what they're earning and what this is going to mean in terms of, their compensation. And so I think, the looking forward component to this is, really, really important.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, unless there's any other comment on this, I mean, there is other public comment that, is part of the agenda. So we can move to old business, if there is any old business. Hearing none, then, oh,
Well, I guess it'll be under, never mind.
okay. Hearing none, we can move to committee updates. Letty?
Yes, we had a budget committee meeting yesterday. I think that's been covered. That was the big talk, was this health insurance thing. There was a building committee. No, that's you. Never mind. I don't have any other committee updates, but I do want to check in about the little Q&A session I offered today. 2 people came to ask questions. 3 or 4 I sent emails, and so I answered those apparently to a dark screen, but luckily with microphone. There seems to be a big confusion, concern among residents that an increase in their valuation means that there will definitely be an increase in their tax bill, and that is not accurate because we have not set the tax rate. There was something else. Oh, the KRT contract extension. Did we sign that? On that note, I heard from several people that they have not been happy with their interactions with KRT, And I think as a board, we should solicit more feedback from people to decide if we should continue using them in the future or not.
Yeah, I mean, feedback is always helpful, and certainly to the extent that they're not providing the customer, service that we would expect, because I understand that, that as a matter of course, that people are being referred to KRT with questions. We need to hear about that. And I do appreciate, to the extent that, there was a handful of, people, I'm appreciative of, your willingness to provide information for those folks.
And then I think that we as a board should make sure that KRT is performing all of the things that they said they were going to in the contract before we pay them. I'm not sure who would do that other than us now.
Okay, what is it that you're concerned about that they're not performing?
Just as part of this process, we have uncovered things that were not done correctly in 2020.
And just for the people that don't know, who is KRT?
KRT is the company that we have hired to do the revaluation.
Okay. Yep.
And we also hired them in 2020. And we're now finding things that had not been updated in 2020. So if it's in their contract that they're supposed to update them this time, we want to make sure it gets done.
Absolutely. We're finding out all kinds of fun things.
Yep. There's also, yep.
Ready for me? Okay. We had our meeting today, the municipal complex or police station meeting today at 1:30. It was well attended. We had 10 committee members and a handful of people in the audience. And we discussed the next, this is obviously a big process, and as things get rolled out, we look at them and ask questions and whatnot. I think there is some confusion out there in the public that I'm hearing about a municipal complex, and I just want to make sure that I reiterate to everyone that this committee is devoted to coming up with 3 plans. Those plans are a standalone police building, a police building with the ability to add on at a later date, whether it be, town offices or some other type of building. And then the third is a police station and town office. So what we as a committee are going to do is we are going to analyze the 3 choices, and we're going to come up with a proposal and advise people on what we think is the best move forward for the town, taking into consideration the town's needs and the taxpayer's burden, and everything in between, right? So we understand it's a huge thing, and we want to make sure we do the right thing. And the right thing is to let the townspeople vote on what they want ultimately at town meeting. So we're going to, again, analyze the 3 proposals. We're going to make a recommendation, and then we're ultimately going to put that to the townspeople, where they can make the final decision on what they want, because they're the ones paying for it. So, did I miss anything on that?
No, I just wanted to clarify that the committee has to bring it to this board.
Correct.
Yes. And then
Yes.
this board is the, yeah.
Yep, yep.
That committee has no power on its own.
That is correct. The committee is going to make a recommendation to the select board, and the select board will then carry that recommendation or come up with their own recommendation.
Because I think there's also been a little confusion in the public about the power that that committee has.
Yeah, yep, which is none.
Yep.
We're a committee.
Yep.
Yep. And really, that's all I have right now. We should be getting, I talked to the deputy chief, and we should be getting that fire tanker within a week. And it's going to be a nice, valuable, very valuable piece that we need for the fire department. So looking forward to getting that. That's all I have so far.
I don't have any committee updates.
Yep.
Letty did send out an email to all of us this week with a lot of good points of stuff that needs to be addressed and followed up on. So we probably should make sure we make some of those agenda items to get a punch list going of stuff that's falling behind or
as we uncover things.
not getting done, or we had some projects ongoing and
Yeah, I think.
we don't
that-
have a point person on a lot of it now.
Yeah, I know that was also forwarded to Jillian, and I did ask that, Julia and Jillian also, work on some of those items.
My only concern about that is that Julie and Jillian already have jobs that we expect them to do.
Yep.
So if we're now asking them to add another full-time position's responsibilities, I want to make sure that they're still able to do the work that we want them to do.
It's my understanding that we're a team and that we'll all work together to try and make sure that everything gets accomplished. I don't think we're putting any one person in particular, like loading them up with too many things.
So Jillian has been unable to complete minutes, probably because she hasn't had time.
So if, I would expect if it's a problem, we'll hear about it. Okay? All right,
And just one other thing.
yes.
Chief Dottie had sent us an email about our Dunn's UEI expiring. I don't know if that got sent to Julie or not, because we need that to be up to date for government grants.
Our government grants portal is also expiring.
That, I think,
Is that the
that
same
has to
thing?
do with the UEI number.
Mhm. The problem we ran into last fall was that the two-factor authentication was sending a text message to Karen. The problem we ran into last fall is that the two-factor authentication system was sending a text message to Karen, so we couldn't log in. One of the reasons I thought maybe we should have like a town cell phone for any town-related accounts like that.
So, again, I believe that was forwarded on to both Julian and Jillian for follow-up, but we'll make sure that happens. Okay. In terms of my update, we did have a site visit on Saturday at the Smith Road and 125 property with Mr. Sanborn as the applicant. That is the site where there is a laydown in terms of equipment. The idea is to bring that site into compliance with a site plan. I thought there were a fair amount of good comments that were made at that site visit in terms of both screening and also dealing with the abutter on one side of the property and making sure that there was appropriate measures that would take place as part of the site plan. So I thought that was progress. I note that there are 2 planning board members here, so if anyone has to add on that, please feel free. Yeah. Feel free to come on up, Doug. Marino. That's right. There are 2 Dougs, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a planning board update that's not about that specifically, if that's okay.
Yep.
Well, it's not even really, it's more of an RPC update. So as members of the board may be aware, due to budget cuts, DOT cut a lot of projects from the 10-year transportation plan, including our project, which concerns the intersection of South Road and 125. And so just we're exploring next steps there. We do have an RPC meeting tomorrow. It's at 6:30 at the Weeks Library in Greenland. So, and public is always welcome to come. Doug and I, of course, will be there because we're RPC members. And but I also want to bring to the board's attention. I apologize. I made a note just so I don't want to give you any incorrect information. So coming up are what's called the Gasset hearings, and this will be an opportunity for us to speak to DOT directly, to express to them, speaking for myself, I think that the project on South Road and 125 is extremely important, and I think that those of us who agree with that point of view should make that known to DOT. And so the Gasset hearing, which will be our opportunity as members of the public to speak to DOT, is actually going to be here in Brentwood. It's on Thursday, September 18th at 6 p.m. at the rec center, where we're talking amongst ourselves as planning board members how we want to handle that, because a lot of us want to be there, of course. We do have a planning board meeting that night at 7. We have 1 Smith Road on the agenda, and we also need to talk about our budget. So we're kind of working out how we're going to make that work, but I wanted to make it known that that public engagement opportunity is available and that it's one that we should take.
Yeah. And Councilor Stevens will be at that meeting.
She will, yes. And I have sent a note to Councilor Stevens just to get her thoughts on how we should approach this, because she's been helpful to us so far. And I think that she'll be honest with us in terms of how we should present our case, so to speak.
And I know in speaking with our previous, she was a real proponent of the project that had been on the plan.
She was, yeah.
Doug, what time is that meeting?
The Gasset hearing?
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Can I post that on the town website? Or
I'm
Oh.
finding it. Did they actually ask us if they could use that, or did they just post that they were doing it?
No, they did ask if the rec center was available. The rec director just wasn't sure for what until today.
Okay. We should make sure that they're charged the appropriate rental fee and they have the insurance coverages that they need for using the building.
I will let Andy know.
Seems fair, given that they cut our project, that they should at least pay for our space. All right, that's all I had.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'd just like to say that, talking about Smith Road, I drive by there several times a day, and I'm very appreciative to Mr. Sanborn for cleaning up that property. It looks a lot better than it did. So I just want to thank him for that.
Yeah, there are, so just to be clear, there are 2 parcels. There is the one that there had been fines and fees that had accrued over a long period of time because of the place just being an absolute disaster with hundreds and hundreds of TVs and things of that nature. So that parcel, which Mr. Sanborn purchased from the Noyes estate, which then ended up resulting in a fairly significant net proceeds to the town, which, you know, I had announced a couple of months ago. More than a couple of months ago at this time. Time flies. But yeah, that property has been, you know, addressed, and I'm appreciative of that. So what we're talking about is the parcel next door to that, where people have seen the activity with propane tanks and pipes and other equipment on the property, and that's the one that the planning board is seeking to bring into compliance. And I think Mr. Sanborn did express you know, a willingness to do so. He did also express remorse in terms of not fully understanding the process. So. Having said that, is there any other public comment at this time? Yep, come on up.
Name and address, please.
Bob Montegary, Long Meadow Drive, Brentwood. As the health officer, I'm psyched that they cleaned up that site because I'd spent quite a bit of time there. I want to remind everyone that we have the hazardous waste cleanup is on Saturday. I am on the committee for that refuge, for that, setting that up for the town. So that is Saturday from 9 to 12, I believe.
Mm-hmm. 9 to noon, yep.
And I will be there probably around 8:30. And hopefully we can do it like we did last year, where we assembly line everybody versus filling out a form for everybody. We just did tick sheets last year. But other than that, it's at the highway shed. I think the forklift and the dumpster is getting delivered on Friday.
Yep.
Bill? No. Last year, we had some interesting stuff that was dropped off. We had a whole jar of mercury that was dropped off. So people bring a lot of different stuff, but like latex paints, where you don't take that. Usually it's going to be like oil-based, but like electronics, there's some stuff you have to pay for to get disposed of. But household oils, stuff like that, motor oil, stuff like that.
There is a pamphlet. I'm not sure where you would get a copy of it, but it does
There's
have
a
do's
stack
and
of them.
don'ts.
Yeah, there's a whole list. Paint thinners, varnishes, shellacs, fiberglass resins.
Radiation.
The fees are charged for the televisions, computer monitors, desktop PCs, notebook PCs, printers, scanners, copiers, and keyboards.
We do not take nuclear bombs. We don't take those.
No.
Nope.
Other than that, and then the other thing is, who's handling the code and building inspection right now? Do you guys have somebody that's assisting? Because I brought up one that we did
We
before, and I don't know
currently
what the
have no
follow-up
one.
is. Because I have one that we were supposed to be getting a septic site plan and everything else, and I've been seeing some work getting done on that property. I brought it before the board. I'm not sure if I should be bringing it up in public or non-public, but I figured.
You
I'd bring
told
it up.
us about it,
That was brought up through administration, and I gave photos.
so you brought it to the town administrator?
Yep. And the prior building inspector code enforcement went out there also. And there was stuff that was addressed to the planning board too, that permits weren't pulled.
I guess we could go on a non-public, but I guess the question is, who advises us if it's time for a cease and desist?
Yeah, well, I know from a health officer aspect, I had to call the state for a septic evaluation plan and everything else, so, don't know where we stand, but they were supposed to get us the plans back in July, and I haven't seen them yet, so. And that was from the state.
Yep.
So I didn't know, that would have been the building inspector code enforcement that would have been following back up with them to see where the pump schedules are and everything else. So didn't know if you guys had somebody in place that was following up on that.
No, it's news to me.
Okay, So we'll go in, if you want to go in non-public afterwards, I'll bring
Yes,
up the
please.
address, and then you guys can tell me how you
Yes,
want me to
please.
proceed. All right, I'm good.
Thanks, Bob. See you Saturday.
Yep, Doug.
I feel like I just saw you guys. Doug Marino, 26 Mill Pond, taking off my planning board hat and putting on my citizen hat. Neither hat covers my bald spot, which is devastating. Just
Good from here, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. So just two quick points I want to make about the select board vacancy. The first being, I know I said this at not the last meeting, but the meeting before, but I just want to once again thank John so much for everything he's done for our town. Love that man, and I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to cry. And then my second point, I want to commend the board for the transparency of this process. I would respectfully urge the board when you do the candidate Q&As to also allow the public in attendance the opportunity to express their opinions on the candidates before you make a final decision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I wonder if it would be more productive to have, if people in the public have questions that they'd like to ask. I worry that opinions could get dicey.
Yeah, I mean, we can discuss that process when we're there next time, so,
Sure.
yep. Yep.
Dexter Swayze, Old Gordon Road. I'm here to get some information on the grant request that the Historical Society made for the assessment, building assessment over on Grange Building. Dear Dexter, congratulations on the approval of the Brentwood Historical Society application for a $3,250 grant to help fund a condition assessment with preservation guidelines for the Keenborough Grange Walden Store Building. Please find the agreement, please sign. I did, send it in, and hopefully it will start in late fall with our recommendations at early winter, I believe they said.
Congratulations. Yeah, excellent.
Oh,
Nice work, Dexter.
we thank you.
Yeah. We thank you.
Step number one.
Michelle Suit at Middle Road. I think I forgot to do that last time. Thank you, Jim and Letty, for bringing up the idea of revisiting what positions are open and what could be reevaluated and changed. So thank you for that. And thank you to the board for considering that. In regards to the insurance rates that are being paid, last year's rates that are being paid, are those going to be changed for the rest of the year? Now that you're aware?
Sorry, do you mean the splits or the rates?
I guess, well, I guess you've been paying probably the rates, I guess the split. Will that be changed going forward?
I don't know.
I don't need an answer to
Yeah,
that,
we
but
don't
that
have
should,
an answer.
but that should be
I
considered.
think when we talked about it at Budget Committee last night, the intent was to make a plan for moving for 2026 and beyond.
And my position, again, we haven't had a discussion, about this, but I can tell you my personal thought is that, these were the rates that, rightly or wrongly, that were set and people were expecting and reasonably relying upon through the end of the year. So I understand, what you're asking and why you're asking it, but, given, the reasonable reliance by the employees, my personal opinion is that it's only fair to keep that in place. But if this board, not at this moment in public comment, but at some point in time wants to raise, that as an issue, anyone can do so and, do so by way of, motion and debate.
I'll just say that if a mistake is found and you can rectify it, it should be rectified, my opinion. KRT, you said KRT, Letty, did not do things right in 2020. Can you explain
It's
that?
unclear. So over the course of, because we're transitioning to a new, we're transitioning away from BMSI to several new systems, one of which is Avatar, which does town clerk, tax collector stuff and assessing, there's a couple of things that that program is intended to do. As part of that transfer, we've come up, or it has been discovered that some of the things that were supposed to be updated at the last reval didn't appear to come through the new system. Whether that's because they weren't updated in the old system or there was a problem with the transfer, we're still honing in on that. But either way, I think it's important that as a board, we have a new assessor, things are new and different. We should make sure that what we're paying them to do now gets done.
Are they the ones that update the system? So like if I go in and I want to see my, the analysis of how my property taxes are, is that something they do or is that something we
Are you
do
talking
in-
about, I'm assuming you're talking about on the website?
Well, like, I think it's Patriot. Is it Patriot that? Yeah.
So that is one of the systems we don't have anymore.
But typically, is that something that the appraisal company does, or is that something that town
I think
employees
the
do?
town appraiser was meant to have been updating those. I do know that Patriot is not going to be updated because that is one of the things we're moving away from into Avatar. I can say that our new assessor is lovely and catching a lot of these things that maybe slipped through cracks in the past. And we are working to make sure that everything is correct going forward.
Okay. And then, sorry for taking so much time, but when you brought up that line that the Brentwood newsletter expenses are supposed to be coming out of and apparently are not coming out of, that makes me wonder what condition our 2025 financials are in. Is that just kind of a mystery right now still? I don't know who would answer that, but
Do you want to address that, Julie? So just to reiterate, for those at home, Julie was indicating that that would be part of what she would be doing in terms of reconciliation for 2025. Right.
so as far as expenses for 2025, do we have an actual number of what we've spent and it's just not in the right categories, or we don't know that either?
That's, in general, that's my understanding.
Okay. And that's all. Thank you.
Becky, you're welcome. Becky, did you have something?
Really quickly, Julie, is that something that Greg would catch if things are in the wrong line, or just if they're in the system or not? Okay.
I know where the error is for the newsletter, and it's a very simple fix.
No, that's fine, because we know about that
Yeah.
one. It's obvious. I guess I'm worried about the ones that we don't know about.
I actually have talked to Julie about possibly going through some of the lines that I know errors were made, and just asking her to kind of go over it with me and see what errors we can find and then fix.
Okay. Okay. Because I think especially as we roll into budget season, having an accurate accounting of where we're spending the money is going to be hugely important, especially this year.
Becky Dunham.
Anything else? None?
I don't think so.
Hi, Becky.
Hello. Becky Dunham speaking as Chair of Conservation. We meet tomorrow night at 6:30 in this room. And our consultant, Anna Boudreau, who's been working with us since last November, will be doing a presentation on the details of an easement so that anyone considering that knows what their rights are, that they retain for their land and what they are giving up as far as development. So there'll be questions and answers. She'll do an overview. She'll have some handouts. So giving some good information to anyone who is considering putting their land in an easement. Just an overview, and we are open to any questions. So it's a good information session. So the public is welcome. We're going to meet right in this room. So if you're interested or want more information, please do attend. And we give out chocolates at the beginning of the meeting. 6:30. 6:30. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Liz Faria, South Road. Boy, this is nice and warm. A lot of people up here today. I thought we were told at least twice that 24 reconciliation had been completed.
Yeah, with regard to
I don't know.
the cash had been
So,
internal.
so the cash is what we owed people or something, or what's the cash? And the stuff that's still outstanding is? And he is going to finish that soon, right? And then you're doing all of 25, or what do you, February to, so why would he have started 25 without finishing 24? So he has enough time left in his contract to finish 24, right?
Yes.
Or his,
Well, his a capped amount. Yes, that's
so-
what he's assured us. Yes.
so how much time does he have left?
I
Enough.
No.
I think people need to understand that we're finding a lot of things. This is not an easy position that we're in, and we're all working very hard to finish and to come up with the proper answers and solutions to what we've been faced with. I think it's pretty substantial, and I think that we're all doing a very good job, and there's a tremendous amount of people that are stepping up and doing a lot more than their own job description has been, said before. So, patience is key in this. We didn't do this, but we're trying to make sure that we do the right things going forward.
I think there's at least a structure in place for that to happen, and that's what I had promised to do from the beginning, and continue to do so. So, all right. Apparently, we are going into non-public tonight for reputational purposes. So, I would entertain a motion to go into non-public.
I'll make a motion to go into non-public.
All right.
Second.
Yep.
Good night, everyone.
Roll call on that, please.
Aye.
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 I'm an aye. All right. Good night, everyone. Why don't we take 5 minutes?
Do we need 5 minutes?
I don't know. Oh, you're fast?
He's probably gonna be 5 minutes.
Going to use the facilities, but all right.